The amount of times that I've heard that, but my kid is fresher than yours, my kid dressed fresher than yours, my kid whoopty whoop better than my kid whoopty whoop. Some of the most empty, soulless parents on the planet that be having kids and then sending their kids to school because they want to go off and back to doing their thottery. Your kid can't read. Your kid don't know their ABCs. Beautiful rising. So real quick, I was chopping it up. I had to give me a little something. So I was chopping it up with pretty much he's like I feel like he's the owner. He might be the manager. But I will say, if he's not the manager or somebody, close to the top as far as owning a building, like, it's somebody he's related to. And he's Middle Eastern. So that's the crazy thing. I don't know if anybody else has noticed, and I've noticed heavily, gas stations, vape shops, CBD stores, Delta 8 or Delta 9, cigarette shops, big vape stores, but gas stations, like a lot of these places, they get financed and they're owned not by our kind. You know what I mean? Me being, melanin. And what I noticed is it's kind of unfortunate. Not really, but it's like you'll see they do the market research. And we talked about some of this stuff before. They do the market research. They're doing the information that needed. They're taking the time to do analysis to see where they putting their stores at, to see where traction is, to see where the money is, and they making bread. And it's crazy because it's like I don't see too many. Like, you'll see the cashier might be black, or but never the owner. Like, we got to change some of this. And I know it's changing in certain areas. But it's like, the more you see it, the more you realize that how possible it is. I just think it's dope. And he was only like 20. So if I've noticed, it's a lot of young bucks out here that's really talking this money talk. And then there's a lot of people out here that's not really doing nothing. They still going through the motions. So it's a lot different. And the funny thing is, if I'm not mistaken, there's another part of this talk that I had left out, but now that I'm thinking about it, we were talking about kids. We were talking about, what's going on in some of these specific areas. And he was pretty much telling me, he was just like my daughter doesn't live here. Like I sent her back home. And like, I thought about it and I was just like, talk to me about that. Like, and he was just like, I don't like how things are conducted out here. I don't like how people live. I don't like how people carry themselves. So I'm not the only one that's crazy when I'm seeing certain stuff and I'm like, hey, I'm not really vibing with how this is looking. It's people that's sending their kids back home to their grandparents, back home to their mom and their dad, and sending checks home to the land, to wherever they from, because of this nonsense. I was telling them, I don't even want my daughter around people. I'm bougie. I'm black bougie. Like, I don't even like my daughter around a lot of these people. Like, a majority of these folks, I'm a real parent. Like, a majority of these folks, they don't teach their kids nothing. They sending their kids to school like it's daycare, got their kid dressing up in all the finest stuff. You know how many videos I've seen of these parents now, like of the teachers coming out and saying that your child is in the 7th grade but can't read at a 7th grade reading level. They can barely read at a 4th grade reading level. But the amount of times that I've heard that, but my kid is fresher than yours, my kid dressed fresher than yours, my kid whoopty whoop better than my kid whoopty whoop. Ain't no amount of sports. I'm saying, your kid can be so good at sports and a straight dummy. Ain't no amount of sports, ain't no amount of clothes. Some of the most empty, soulless parents on the planet that be having kids and then sending their kids to school because they want to go off and back to doing their thottery. Your kid can't read. Your kid don't know their ABCs. I remember when parents, I said this in a couple videos, but this is to the moms. Like, I remember when the moms was taking pride in teaching their kids something. Like, we got way far away from that now. I know it's still some good women out there, but it's a lot of Poor examples on both sides for the men and for the women. That's all I'm saying. Poor examples of parenthood. Poor examples. Poor examples. We talking about the test scores, like the test scores have something to do with the teachers. The test scores always has something to do with these parents and them not teaching their kids nothing at home. That's always what it was. So I don't know where people's minds was. It wasn't about the school. You didn't teach your child nothing at home. You thought that was the school's job. That's where you were wrong. You've been wrong.